Hello, Emma.
Hello, Bobby. How are you?
It is so good to see you. Although it's weird because I know we haven't spoken in a while, but since you follow people on social media, you feel like you kind of know what's going on with their life. So
I know.
I don't feel like it's been like this long gap because I still am keeping up with you, but I hope you're doing awesome.
I'm doing great. But you know what? I also think that depends on the people too. You were always so personable and we always got on so well that, when you just like, oh, it's Bobby,
Yeah.
you click back into like talking and friendship. It's like really easy.
Well, I wish I could see you in person, but I'm so happy that you came on with me. Mostly, I kind of want to get an idea of two things. One, I was
Yeah.
reading all the comments about how people were upset that you were teamed with Andy. I love Andy Richter. I'm a massive fan. You saw the comments. What are your thoughts on how people are reacting to you being teamed with Andy?
Well, I saw the comments and my first thought was, I really hope that Andy isn't disheartened by reading this
Mm,
because for me, like I think Andy is the best partner for me. I truly do. I have got to that point in my life, and also I've done the show now for 19 seasons. I know where my let's just say like my expertise are, and I know what I love to do, and I really love to see the improvement and the growth in my partners, and that's what I'm probably best at. I'm probably best at bringing out people that are not dancers, that are potentially even nervous to do the show, and to give them the best possible experience. And trust me, all the pros give their partners such an incredible experience and the best one that they could possibly do. But Andy to me is the best partner. I love being partnered with the funny guys. I love being partnered with the personalities. I love being partnered with the people that have this special quality about them. And so I'm thrilled, and I always was thrilled that I had Andy as a partner.
Do you think that
So
that's why they probably do that? Is because they know that you will do so well with getting them at least like introduced to the regimen, and they may not feel comfortable, and they because you are the most personable person of that whole crew, at least according to me. Do you feel like that's why they do that?
I think that they know that the producers, they know that I will lean into kind of the quirky. I'm a quirky person by nature anyway. I'll lean into the fun. I'll lean into and everybody does, by the way. I just want to stress that everybody really does embrace the whole experience. I'm also potentially one of the more patient pros, and it just happens that's something that I really love to do, and I get really excited about like sharing an experience with a celebrity who is probably not a dancer and is more of a personality type. And so I think that's probably why they do it.
There's such an important part of the relationship between the pro and the celebrity because if you do
Mhm.
not have a dynamic that works, it can be miserable. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 4 hours in a room with someone if you're not connecting is really hard, and it can be draining. I haven't really had that experience. I mean, obviously there's people that you literally light up the room and it goes really fast. So I feel very lucky, but you need to get on with your partner. You also just need to find a way to connect. And I think it's your job as a pro to make your celebrity feel safe and find a way to connect with them and just talk to them and get to know them. Like when Andy and I get into the rehearsal room in the morning, we stretch, we get on those roller foam things. Oh, my light just went out. Sorry. I won't look as cute now. But we get on the like Fola Roam things and we stretch, and we talk, and I love to know about his family. And what I really like about Andy is like he asks me questions all the time, like, how are you, how did you get started, how is everything in your personal life, like I want to see pictures of your house. He really likes to connect in that way, and then by the time we get up and dance, I feel like I'm dancing with my friend and my actual teammate in all of this, and not just someone who's there for the common goal of like being on a show.
You've done 19 seasons. That's so many partners.
Yes, off the top of my head, I don't know if that's accurate. I think it is. It's about 19 seasons, yeah.
Who was your first ever partner?
It was Bill Engvall, who is a comedian. Again, comedian, similar type of age to Andy. So I was like, oh my, and he was my favorite. So I was like, oh my God, this is like Bill Engvall season. I'm so excited for it. And it feels, I just love that type of person. It feels nostalgic to me. Bill Engvall is a comedian that used to work with,
Like
I
Jeff
think it was,
Foxworthy. Like he was with that
yeah,
group.
Jeff Foxworthy, blue collar comedian group. That was their name, I believe, unless I memory doesn't serve me well. And he was just like the loveliest guy. Would turn up in a Volkswagen like, van, and was like quirky, a little bit surfer. It was really nice.
You were in the troupe before you became a pro?
Yeah, I did 3 seasons of Troop, which I found to be really beneficial because it can be really mad. The choreography part of the show is really stressful, and some people don't realize we have to handle the choreography. You have to understand where the cameras are in the room, and you have to um, direct your choreography so that it can be clearly shot and it reads well and it has the most impact. And there's definitely certain ways that you do that. So being on Troupe really allowed me to watch the other professional dancers choreograph and work with their celebrity. It gave me a really good understanding of how the show works from week to week, who the producers are, what the room looks like, everything. I thought it was so valuable.
How does it work where you find out the dance you're doing, and then do you just have to start choreographing it yourself as soon as you hear the type of dance you're doing?
Yes, the music plays a really big part of it for me, for everybody. Again, I think some people are different in the sense of they might have specific style that they want to go for. For me, I need to hear the music and then I can visualize certain things in my head, and then I'll stand up. Sometimes it's embarrassing because I'll be at like a cafe and I'll get the email with the audio track on and I'll just like listen to it because I want to make sure that it's okay and it's what I'm imagining. And then I'll get up and I'll try a few steps and then I'll remember, oh, I'm in Starbucks, sit back down. But that's always been my life. But yeah, so it's really down to the music for me.
So when you get to the room day one, a lot of times, are you still figuring out what you're going to do while you're teaching that celebrity what you're doing? Is that ever part of the process?
Yeah, day one of the show, is that what you mean?
Yeah, day one of like the week when you learn you're going to do whatever dance, if it's a jive and you have your song, when
Oh.
you go in that day one of practice, do you have it fully mapped out or do you have it mostly mapped out and you're figuring it out while you're in there?
Bobby, like the goal is to have it like fully mapped out, but it's like stress city. So the show will be for us now, it used to be on Monday, now it's on Tuesday. So we come in on Wednesday, and the pros have probably, if you've been safe the night before, you already have your music, you're going to do jive, let's say. You've already got it choreographed because you need to have it choreographed before you go into it. Because you can't really just try things on them. Like you need to have like a plan. So, I mean, you can try things and change it, but you need a plan. So you go in on the Wednesday and it's all choreographed. But the production are trying to do a ton of interviews. You're also trying to get social. They've also had like a really long day the day before. All you're thinking about is like chucking this choreography into their brains so that when they go to sleep, they have something solid to wake up to and then come in and build on the next day. You just have to like chuck things at them, and it's going to be kind of like disjointed, and a lot of changes are going to happen for the first like 3 maybe 4 days, and then by the weekend you get into like really solidly running it, and you have your dance.
Who was the most advanced partner you had from the beginning where you thought, wow, they know what they're doing and we can actually change as the week goes?
That would be James Van Der Beek. So I won with Rashad Jennings, and he was excellent. No dance experience, but just had something very special. But James Van Der Beek came into the show, and he had done gymnastics before, and he was an absolute dance enthusiast. Had performed on stage, but not actually taught like learnt dancing, but he was just a natural. He had an ability and he had a presence and he knew how to stand. So he loved it. He threw himself in it, and I thought, wow, like he was very trainable. He was flexible. He loved contemporary, and And so he was probably the most versatile dancer that I've ever had without even still having formal training.
That reminded me because I was thinking, I was just talking to somebody about you. It was James. He lives in Texas now, and I was in Austin, and we were together. And he was like, "Hey, you know Emma?" I was like, "I love Emma. Emma's like the one that I like, that's on the show still that I care about the most." And he was like, "Oh
Uh,
my God." And we talked about you for like 15. That's exactly who it was. It was James. I had no idea that he knew how to dance or that he had any background in dance at all.
He had like it was interesting because he had a background in gymnastics, so he was just natural. Like he was the type of person that would, again, be playing with his kids in the garden. And I've been to see him in Austin too, and beautiful place that they live in, like great ranch, and the kids are like outside all the time. He'd be playing with them, and he'd be kind of like moving around and dancing with them, and just he had no inhibitions when it came to movement. So it just made for an incredible mover, especially when it came to contemporary. He just knew what to do.
So who was it that started from the lowest, and maybe they didn't win, but you had the most growth, and maybe not even growth as a dancer, but that you were so proud of when it was over that it almost made you emotional?
Reginald Val Johnson
Last
last
season.
year was, I mean, for me, he was and is somebody so special. And he came onto the show, was so endearing. And again, we connected straight away. And the second that I saw him move, I thought to myself, this is going to be potentially the most challenging season for movement that I've ever had. But he was so lovable and so special that the growth that he had in the show, because to me, the show is a journey. It is a dance show, but people don't realize it's so much more than that. At the end of the day, it's an entertainment show at its core. So I believe that Reginald Val Johnson came onto the show and really made so many people fall in love with him, with his charm and his personability. Is that a word?
It
Personability?
works. You're British. Yeah,
Personability?
you're English. It works. Yeah, you have an accent. You can
Yeah,
say
yeah,
anything.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
I believe that he came on and just was so lovely and wonderful and game that even if he did, and we did count, it was 16 steps in the first dance. I was proud of those 16 steps. I was so proud of him no matter what he did. And we weren't nervous because I knew whatever he was going to do, he was going to own it, and he might forget some steps, but he was going to be there and he was going to give it his all, and people would love him for it, and people celebrated that kind of quality in a person. So I was super proud of him.
People will wonder what you're saying to your partner while you're dancing. What are you saying to your partner while you're dancing on television?
Well, everything. I'm saying the whole choreography. So Andy and I just did our wide shot. And you remember that, Bobby? That's that part in the week where you get that wide angle video of your entire dance to music so that the directors can map out all the cameras. So we just did our video where we did the dance to music. And you can hear the music, but you can hear me screaming on top of the music for the most part. And it'll be things like, and I won't scream it at you because that would not be pleasant for your viewers, but it would be things like I say twinkle toes at one point because it gives him the visual of like fast feet. I say tall, hand on head. I'll say quick. I'll say have fun. Because there's a moment where I asked him, I said, what does this step, how do you become more free in this step? And he says, oh, it makes me think of having fun. So every time we get to that step, I say, have fun. And he does it, like he really comes alive. So I need to keep giving him, and usually all my partners, a lot of structure during the show, during the dance, by vocal cues, and it helps them. If I ever really stop that, it becomes a bit of a problem. I've tried a couple of times, but it's much better for them when they have kind of all angles like support, at least like a lot of my partners.
Did you start ballet at a young age?
I did, but I can't really own that because I quit. I was 5 or 6, and I have a twin sister, so we started together. And we started ballet, but I just had so much energy. I just wanted to run everywhere. I didn't like how strict it was. Ballet can be really strict and regimented, and it was all about positions. And I wasn't ready for that kind of strict just not being able to move my body. It was just the wrong form of dancing for me personally. So I told my mom that I didn't like it. I didn't want to go back. And I don't remember how long I went, but it was not long enough to get like a foundation. But then I started ballroom dancing when I was 10, and it was everything. I watched this girl drop into the splits during a performance, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best dancing ever. So then I signed up, and that was history.
Did you become obsessed as a teenager where that's all you did?
Yes, I was that kid in school that had like, the life that sounds awful, but the an entire separate life outside of school. So I had my school friends and I actually really enjoyed school, but then I would just go and I'd slick my hair back and I'd be this really dedicated dancer at the weekend, and I would have to travel. My parents were amazing. They would drive me 3 hours. In England, there's a place called Hull, and that's where my partner would live, and it was 3 hours away. So they would drive me sometimes on a school night and then back again. It was
Mm.
so much dedication from them that I owe them so much. But I was definitely that person, yes.
When did you realize you could actually do this as a career?
When I was 16, I had like a predicament because I had some choices. I could stay on school and I wanted to do psychology, or that's probably what I would have chosen. I also wanted to go to a performing arts school in London, and I got in, but it was so expensive, really. And I didn't want to put my parents through having to pay for that. And then just as life does and life has you held, I got offered a touring show that was kind of like indefinitely. It was a rolling on show that paid every week, and it was really decent pay for me at the time as a 16-year-old. It meant that I could dance every day. I toured England, and then we started to go internationally a little bit. And they also wanted to take my partner with me, my professional dance partner. So we got to practice every day. We didn't have to travel anymore. So I left school, and that's what I did. And it meant that my parents didn't have to pay for my lessons anymore because I could practice with my partner and I could pay for them myself. And that was my first ever job, and it was dancing. And so from there, an agent approached me and I just said yes. I just kind of said yes to opportunities as they came up. And I realized I had not really chosen it. It had chosen me, which sounds cliche, but I just kept going and kept dancing, and more opportunities kept coming up. And before I know it, I was a dancer.
Was it odd for your parents, for their daughter, just to travel and tour as a dancer at 16, 17 years old?
It was really sad for my mom. She found it difficult to let go of me. And I remember specifically her dropping me off in London one day when I basically started my first day of this big job. And we said goodbye, and she was crying, and I remember it, and she still talks about it. She still says, "Oh, I left my baby so early." And it was the right thing to do. It really to start so early into something I was so passionate about. I was very fortunate. But it did mean that my parents and my twin, like we were a family of four, and then all of a sudden I was off and I was traveling and I was with a dance family. So it was a big shock.
What do you say to people who have birthdays on holidays? Like my wife's birthday, it's like right after New Year's. And so I've really
Oh,
tried to do a great job of separating the holiday from the birthday because it can get lumped in with the holiday. Now,
yes,
this has been a big part of your life because your
yes.
Christmas birthday, right?
Yes. I'm so happy that you asked me that question. And by the way, say hi to your wife for me. Give her a big hug. It When I was younger, me and my twin sister thought that having a birthday on Christmas Day was really cool. And then we realized, well, hang on, we're getting like kind of gypped because everybody celebrates Christmas, which is great. You have the day off, but it's not really your day. And now I'm old, I'm getting older. I'm like, I really don't necessarily care that much for birthdays, for my birthday. So it's good again. Um, but yeah, we used to have the thing where people would buy one big present for both of us for Christmas and for birthday, and then we'd just share it. I don't think at the time it was that big of an issue, but I don't mind it now. I don't mind it. And I actually had somebody the other day tell me, "Oh, Christmas birthday is really interesting because they said to me that the whole world has this very positive energy on Christmas morning. I was born on Christmas morning, has this really high energy because it's Christmas Day and the kids are waking up and they're so excited, and it's just everybody's kind of at peace. And then when you're born on that day, you kind of like take that energy with you. And I was like, oh, I would love to think that. But it comes with its challenges, but you always have the day off.
Yeah, that's a good point. You always have the day off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. It's tough though, because I really, and my wife's the same. She's not a big birthday person, but as you get an adult, right, it's not as much about the cake. It's mostly about the people that you love. But I still try to do a great job at separating them because I do want her to feel like special with it being her day. And I know in school, she was not at school when it was her birthday, and everybody was just like, "Well, your birthday's out right after New Year's, so we'll just celebrate it all together." But I wondered how you dealt with that as a kid.
Yeah, that's hard. I'm so glad that you like, take the time to like separate it because it's nice to do that. I don't really know what it feels like to have a birthday. It's really just Christmas for me, and then
Oh no, that's so sad.
but
Um,
I love it still. It's fine. I have my twin, and we like it. It's funny because we like add our ages up together, so we always say, "Oh, we're 78," you know.
so a couple more dancing questions. Now, as far as the show, and I was talking to a producer friend of mine who works at a different network, and he was like, "Hey, when you did that show, did you know?" And I was like, "I knew nothing the whole time. Like they keep everything from me because there are actual laws because you're competing for money. Like you don't really know anything as it's happening, right?"
No, we don't know anything as it's happening for sure. I mean, I feel like you're talking about the producers on Dancing with
I'm
the Stars,
talking
right?
about you knowing where you finished, how many votes you got, if you're in the bottom before they tell you, if that
No,
you know nothing, right?
no, 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 nothing. And so when you're standing there, when that music comes on at the end of the night and it's like elimination and they put the red music on, it's so dramatic. You really are finding out at that point, if you're in the bottom two or if you're going home, you know nothing beforehand. There's like no leaks, nobody tells you anything. And then they're so good, the Dance with Stars producers. I've never had known any information about where people's votes were or where you stack up. It's kind of like just blind, you're just dancing and you're hoping that it works out. But people don't, the voting is so important, and it literally makes or breaks people. And I've heard scenarios where, it might have been so close, but for some reason, this person had like a massive jump in the votes and it ended up saving them. So we hear situations like that, but we never hear any information about where you are placed in the competition. We just don't know. And even the leaderboard, you can't really base it off of that because no one knows what the votes are.
Whenever you won with Rashad, do you remember them announcing your name as the winners?
Yes, it's so funny that you say this, Bobby, because go back and watch it, okay? I want to tell you a story. When they announced us as winners, I was standing with Rashad on Tom Bergeron's left-hand side. And right before they announced it, maybe 4 seconds before he says our name, my body starts doing this weird, like, celebration, and my mouth, and you can see it for a split second, my mouth kind of goes, and then I stop, and then I'm like, why? Why did I do that? Why? Like, I just did something really weird. Involuntary. There was this surge of energy that did this, and then I went back down because I realized nothing's happened. Like you didn't hear anything, and then they said our name, and then I went back and watched, and it literally is just it's a little mouth thing, but the energy at that point that I felt, my body, something happened where I maybe heard them in the booth into the earpiece or something, but my body started celebrating and my mind had no idea what was happening. It was like the weirdest thing. And then, of course, the pictures they take, and I don't know if this is your experience too. The pictures they take of you when you win, I looked atrocious. Like my mouth was, oh, I was screaming. I looked like I was like scared. It was a really bad photo. But Rashad dad deserved it so much. And he looked at me like, he just put his arm in the air and it was such an amazing moment for him. So, and deserved it like a lot. But, did you have the same experience where they took a picture of you after you won and you were like, oh my gosh, I look crazy?
Yeah, all of it felt crazy. I have shocked eyes in every picture because I was genuinely shocked. So my eyes are a little too wide open in every single picture because I'm like, wait, what? Is this some sort of prank show? Because even I felt that. So yeah, it was all bizarre. Like I remember
I mean,
too, yeah, like hearing when they said my name, all I heard was, but, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah, that was it for me.
it's an amazing feeling, when you've gone through so much work and then you're there at the end and you're just hoping that they say, the start of your name and then you can just like celebrate and have Thanksgiving and then rest finally. It's such an amazing experience.
Well, I wish you the best of luck and the best of health, and I'm rooting for you, whoever you get. Oh, by the way, let me ask this question, last question. And
Yeah.
it's like so much kindness combined with you and Alan now dating. What
Mhm.
what the heck? You guys, that's awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's great, and it's going to be a really fun season. We're going to be able to like support each other through both of our partners. But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, Alan's like the kindest guy too. So, rooting for you in life, more so than
Thank
the show, but rooting for you
you.
on the show. And I hope you have a great season. Emma, thank you so
Thank
much for coming on the show, and hopefully I will see you soon.
Yes, hopefully see you soon. Thanks, Bobby.
Bye, Emma.
Bye.